Security was at a high level, including campus police, Houston Police, FBI, Secret Service, and others. There was intense voter registration in progress. All students were ready for debate. No student was more ready than biology student Safiya.
First of all, what's going on today?
Well, we are hosting the Republican debate. Are you ready?
So it's caused a lot of changes on the campus. Have you noticed any?
It has caused a lot of changes, but the normal stuff, close off certain roads, close certain parking lots, of course, to provide for accommodations for everyone else who wants to attend. But like I said before, it's a great milestone for the university. Personally, I have known U of H to be sort of underlooked because I guess their accreditation and the curriculum wasn't as rigorous and tough as other major Texas universities, such as Texas A&M or Rice University, because it's more private. But this is a major milestone for U of H because people, I guess they sort of have a newfound respect for the university and what their accomplishments are and what it can be in the future. So I like that.
So it's a growing school. You can tell if you're around the campus, you can see the rail coming through. You can see buildings going down, buildings come back up in place. What's the Peach Bowl? You guys won the bowl. Now you got the leading basketball team's going to be seated in the playoffs. So we're right into March, and you got now the Republican now. How about the demographic? I don't see this as a Republican stronghold here in Houston.
I think the demographic does actually makes up the student body of U of H is not necessarily Republican, but I think generationally it is. Because you have a lot of students actually go here. Yes, we do have many students that are transferring, but a lot of their parents are natives of Texas. And when you think about the history of Texas, Texas is a southern state.
Yeah.
So,
my son said to me this morning that Texas is a swing state. And it's because I'm like, why are the Republicans coming here? Why was Hillary here last week? Why did they care? They're going to lose anyway. He said, no, Texas is a swing state.
I think Texas is growing, but I don't think it's reached that capacity yet to where it can be considered a swing state. Because a lot of the stronghold is not really in the youth. It's really in our parents and our grandparents. And most of that demographic consists of a lot of conservative Republican people.
But you got the party can't ignore it. The opposition can't ignore it. I mean, if I thought that way and I was Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders, I wouldn't come. I wouldn't waste my time or my money to come to Texas and try to bring. I mean, it's a slam dunk for Texas, red all the way. But he said, no, Dad, it's a swing state.
But you know what? The thing is, you can be surprised. You know, because now
I think it's refreshing. To think that
younger people they now understand the importance of voting, and I think it's reached a lot more, especially inner city youth and young adults than it used to before. So I think you have the potential there for it to be a swing state. So I can't speak to guarantee it that it's just
And again, the demographic here is not the Houston demographic. It's not the Texas demographic. There are so many people from different countries, from different areas of the country, races, you name it, religions. I mean, you can't.
It's very true. We have like our Muslim associations. We have our African associations. It's very diverse, but as a Brooklyn native, this is not like
Brooklyn.
I mean, I understand how people say, "Oh my God, U of H in Houston is so diverse," because you have like, your neighborhood of Indians and your Asians, but it's still very separated in a sense because you still have your communities that are solely Asian, and you have your communities that are solely African. So yes, everyone kind of like comes here, but they still group off into their own segment. So like where the intermix is where it really matters. In New York, you can go to the bodega, you'll run into Puerto Rican, Dominican, Jamaican. You'll just run into everybody at one time, versus here, it's kind of like you really kind of have to step outside of your neighborhood to still really find that mix.
I had a guy point that out to me in Atlanta because everybody talks about how integrated it is. He said, now you have to really know to step back and look at, did you see the work crew that was out there?
Exactly.
Did you realize that they were all white?
Exactly.
there's a lot of work crews.
Yeah.
And that's a black one, and that's a white, but they're not mixed together.
Exactly, they're not mixed together. In New York, my neighbor, I had an Italian neighbor, I had a freaking Jamaican landlord. Like, but it's beautiful because you are able to be exposed to so many different cultures and so many different perceptions that can influence your own, whether it's negative or positive. You know, so as far as that pertains to politics, I think a lot of that is what's going to help to shape the way people vote, because now we're not just hanging around our typical friends, you know, from neighborhoods we grow up with. We're hanging around, we're meeting people on our campus, you know, on this campus, and that's really what the college experience should be like.
Exchanging ideas.
Exchange of ideas.
And experiences,
Experiences, memories, cultures, just youth, because that's what college is. It's exploration, it's, you know, adversity, it's just everything to prepare you in a way for what's out there.
Yeah, university means, I had this when I was in college, university means 120 schools of thought here at this place. And a lot of people say I'm a university. I'm really not a university, but 120 schools of thought.
Yeah.
You know, so that's what you do at school. You learn. You get to take a ride in somebody's car. You get to walk in their shoes. You get to see things from different perspectives, and it stays with you all your life. Well, what do you think about the Republican Party coming here? How well do you think they'll be received?
I actually think they'll be very well received.
Okay.
I think people are very happy and excited, not to just be a part of the process, but to actually witness it and to maybe get more information that we probably are unaware of.
And all those talking heads that you see on TV said it's going down at the University of Houston, right where you're at. So you're important to the world, you know. And this is a big thing for Super Tuesday, the last show for the Republican Party, and they did. And here's the platform, University of Houston, right where you walk every day.
Exactly.
You know, in the common area.
So much. They really have done a lot for the university to kind of prepare it for events such as this. So I'm actually glad that they have the opportunity to do so. And of course, that adds to the weight of your degree. So who wouldn't want that kind of recognition? You know, everyone else has it to a certain extent. But it's a great accomplishment. So I'm very happy to be a part of that.
Were you able to participate or at least witness any of the Hillary showing at the Texas Southern last week? But you heard a lot about it, right?
I heard a lot about it, but I did not participate.
So I'm trying to think this out from a Democratic perspective. You know, what does this mean to the Democrats that the Republican Party's here being well received? And I mean, I understand there's some protests planned for this evening, and the police presence obvious all over. They've got streets shut down.
But
I
think Democrats are pretty civil individuals. They're a civil party. I don't think that they're probably going to protest in terms of, you know, we don't want you here. I just think it'll be more of a focus on having their views emphasized and not having it overshadowed by the Republican Party here and hosting. So that's probably what it will be.
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't see the Nazi skinheads and the Ku Klux Klan marching down the streets. I see the Republicans not taking the opportunity to gloat and push things and hate speech and everything. I hope that it's going to mean you're going to get a good debate of real issues. What do you think about some of the major issues that we're talking about? Immigration?
Immigration is a huge issue. Well, for me personally, it's an issue because I really cannot stand the ignorance behind many people's views. The fact that a lot of people, I understand we want to strengthen our borders. We want to control who's coming in and what's coming into this country. But at the same time, you cannot erase history, and we have to understand that this country was built on more than just American. And it's not fair because we are privileged in the sense to, you know, have clean water and fresher air, brighter skies, that people from impoverished countries can't come here for a better life. And I feel that as a country, if we just don't say, no, you're not welcome here, instead of saying that, make feasible ways for people to come here and actually be successful, so that way they can contribute to the same economic structure that we feel that they're taking so much from. You know, so I
think
that's a
I think
huge
me and you are from similar backgrounds. I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, born and raised. I've been
Okay.
here for only like 9 years.
Oh,
But I thought
okay.
this morning, I said, when I think about Trump, and you said some of the things that have been said, I said to myself, how do you get to be at his advanced age,
Exactly.
and me and him, when he says Mexican and I say Mexican, it's not the same
Two different
definition.
connotations.
I'm saying
Right.
I think of hardworking, honorable, peaceful, backbone of the economy,
Exactly.
you know, trustworthy, you know, all of these
The
great.
media is
And when
focused
he
on-
says Mexican, I don't think that's what he's talking
When
about.
he says Mexican, for him, I think he sees drug cartels with machetes and AK-47.
Yeah. And that's what I worry about him is how do you get to that advanced age and that's your mindset about
Because I think
Mexican.
a lot
I don't
of
get
people
that,
are
and
just-
I've been around too.
A
You
lot
know,
of people are just willing to fit the stereotype because it's comfortable for them. When you're forced to move out of your comfort zone, when that stress is on you, then you have no choice but to understand and see the realities of
Yeah.
life. That everyone that is a minority is not a criminal. And that's a reality that certain people just do not want to come to terms with because
Yeah.
then I feel like their supremacy or whatever higher horse they felt that they were on, they will no longer feel that way because then it's like, okay, everyone's on the same plane level.
when you are
You
the
know?
when you are the minority,
Exactly.
you realize how hard it is.
Exactly.
So I mean, we used to say in engineering school, it's harder for me to get a B than for you to get a B.
It is.
You know, and just think about that. If you're a Mexican, if you're a Muslim, if you're an Indian, if you're an Asian, and you come here to a different culture, to a different
Yeah.
system, and you still have to compete with everybody for that same A grade
Yeah.
and that opportunity to progress in
But
your
I
career.
really do admire their work ethic.
Yeah.
I know that Americans, you know, we have been brought up on that nuclear household structure, you know, hardworking man, hardworking mother, you know, takes care of the household. But I just feel like certain work ethic that's taught in other countries is not really taught here.
Right. Right.
Here it's kind of like who you know, who you rub elbows with to get ahead.
Yeah.
But in other countries, it's like, hey, yes, it's a village to raise a child, but we will not let you just get by like that.
Right,
You know, you have
right.
to actually put in the work
Yes.
and get the job done. You
Yeah.
know,
So I
and my parents are Caribbean, so I completely understand.
Okay.
It's a very eye-opening experience.
Different
there
culture.
and here.
different reality, different
reality.
objectives in life, you know,
Exactly.
altogether
Completely
different,
But
different value system. And I say that about when I say Mexican and he says Mexican, there's two different ideas going through our
Yeah.
head. And I say to myself, what about Muslim? Because he doesn't have a very impressive
he doesn't.
opinion
in one
of
his,
Muslims either.
Speeches, didn't he have a Muslim lady removed?
Oh, he said close all the mosques, you know, stop them at the border, and it's like based on them being Muslim. And I still say, how does he get to that advanced age? And that's the only solution, the only mindset that he's developed.
Right.
And I say, well, what's he going to do when that same situation is presented to him in paper, in a law, in a new
Exactly.
document, a ruling, an executive order, whatever, you know, a policy? Is he going to have that same mindset?
Yeah,
When
he
he
sure
when he
will.
deals with blacks, when he deals with Indians, I mean, when I say Indian, I mean Native Americans have issues that impact the presidency. I mean, all types of people. Is that what we're going to find in every case when
It is
he
scary.
says that person or that demographic?
Exactly.
Are we talking about two different things, you know?
And
And
you
it's
know,
like,
the thing with opinion, public opinion at that, is that media is so focused on sensationalism, you can pretty much, people will believe anything you tell them if you tell them in the right way at the right time.
Yeah.
That's the scary thing about it. Because you have people who have never even interacted with a Mexican and think that they're scary. And it's like,
Yeah.
are you serious? Like, you're just going to go based on what one person's views are about the group of people that you have never interacted with. That makes
Yeah.
no sense. But when I think of Donald Trump, I really think that he has more than enough money to get a new hairstyle, number one. Because that's unacceptable for the American people to have to see that hairstyle every day, number one. Number two, his views are very close-minded, very judgmental, just not American, like I would say. You know, but it's not fair. It's not justified, and it's just inappropriate. So
Yeah.
I would hope that, you know, people do their research and do their homework and choose the best candidate for the country.
we're living in a different time. I looked at the Obama election campaign, and what I took away was that there was a divided country. And I, without too much disrespect for his running opponents, I always say 48 to 49% of the vote went to Elmer Fudd, and I would say what I call Sarah Palin, but it's not appropriate for this discussion. But that's who he ran against. And I said, that's the worst thing. He's never really faced a worthy opponent in an election. He never has. But at the same time, that pitiful candidate garnered that high percentage of the popular vote. You know what I'm saying? And it was a total division. And that's where we're at. Snapshot of where we're at as a country. We are completely divided right now. And I say to my kids, because I'm older and much older than I'm 30 years older than my son that goes here, right? And I say, they are a dying breed, and that's a slow process. But that's where you're living. You're living at a place where it's divided. Our country's divided along racial lines, along political lines, and we're waiting for people like you to become adults to start to vote, and then they're on the other side. Look at the candidate I don't even know Donald Trump's age, but I know he's well into probably in his 70s. He's going to be an old man if he was elected. He'd be an old man when he gets out of the presidency. So that's dying, and the people who push the button for him, they're a dying breed too. So it's going to take that time frame for those views to really change.
That's true. I
really
do feel like we're in changing times. Like it's going to change so drastically.
But it's going to take time. It's going to take generations, and just
but
like
I kind of feel like it starts now. Like it's just something about the movement now that's inspiring. You know, it's just you kind of feel the energy. You feel like there's people who are unafraid to speak up in a sense. You know, before it was kind of like, okay, everyone kind of went about their day and did their own thing. But I'm so happy to see the younger generation participating in social events because that's how change occurs. You know, this is going to be your future. You know, we're going to have to live in this for a long period of time than the old heads that are, passing by.
Right.
So we kind of have to set the tone and set the stage for what we want to see.
And from my perspective, I grew up with Martin Luther King. I was probably 8 years old when he was assassinated, right? I saw Kennedy coming out with all these revolutionary ideas and thoughts. And I'm going to be perfectly candid with you. I'm from the ghetto, just like probably you are too. And the word on everybody's mouth, everybody says King this and King that. The first word was out of the black mouth was, that nigger's going to get killed. That nigger's going to get killed. I mean, you could say the same thing about Malcolm. But that's the thing that I see that's changed now is that we had those ideas thrust at us. We had agreement, and then it was snatched from you.
Because
and Obama, now we've got a presidency. We've got the ultimate, and we're saying, okay, that's like firm ground. And it's something to hold on to. And we didn't have that because it was snatched from under us. You know, we fought, we bled, we got chased, and we were victorious, and then they snatched it away from us. Now you got something to hold on to.
Every little bit of hope, I feel like African Americans have tried to obtain, just based on the history of the country here, slavery, the Emancipation Proclamation, Jim Crow laws, segregation, just based on that, it's kind of like we've always had a taught sense of fear to achieve greatness. Because it's like if you did achieve greatness, you always knew it would come with a mountain of doubt, speculation, as if these are not natural things that can be accomplished. Everyone has the mental capability to be anything that they want to. But it's the people that are in position to actually get you there that can stunt your growth. So I feel like when Obama was actually running for presidency, people were like, oh my God, this is great, but wait, should we be excited? Or should we really show support? Because then people will think oh my God, we're just happy because he's black. But then it's like, why should we not be happy to see people that reflect us doing great things? I don't understand that.
He could not be beat. Believe be me. He could not be beat
And
unless he would have
I
been beat.
don't think that it's just because he is a black man. And then that just goes to show you how society is, because his entire half of his lineage is Caucasian.
And we've heard these idiotic accusations that black people always vote for the black candidate. I'm like, no, not in my lifetime. There were no black candidates. What are you talking about? We always pull the lever for the black guy. There was no black guy. There never was a black guy. You know what I'm saying? And yes, I don't know our number because I don't believe in the census, because if you want to control somebody, why give them your number? But I guarantee you, white people elected Barack Obama president. Black people didn't do it. White people did.
It's not even
And that's what I say that's what I mean when I say he could not be beat.
Yeah.
And you have a moment in time where he was better than anything that the other side put up.
I agree.
And white people had to recognize, and there was fierce opposition to that. And they didn't have the number. They couldn't beat him. And I say you got the opportunity to hold on to. I think Hillary Clinton, honestly, is a continuation of that. We don't go back to Jim Crow. We don't go back to dogs. We got this issue with the police and all the issues. I think Hillary is on our side of that issue. And I think that these Republicans are on the other side. And we don't go backwards because you've got something to hold on to. I think that's the overwhelming concern for and my children and their future for this election is that we don't go backwards. We hold on. And we know that President Obama didn't get respect. I call the Congress the Ku Klux Congress. I mean, their objective was to stop Obama no matter what he was doing, no matter what he tried to do. And that's that 50% that is there that is dying out. And I mean, you've got the ground to hold on to now.
Yep.
And it's worthwhile.
I feel that their children, even though they're exposed to them, look at how diverse technology is. Like, you just cannot deny it. There's so much knowledge out there. There's so many ways to be involved in everything else besides with your parents in Congress who hate Obama, like what you see. So, you know, despite their influence on their children, they still are privy to so much that would probably help them change their entire viewpoint of life and the way that they see minorities or the way that they even see Obama, you know? But only time will tell, and I can only hope that it progresses forward because, you know, they do say history repeats itself, but...
Yeah. Do you know the other candidates? Other than
as
Trump,
far as
everybody
Bernie
knows Trump.
Sanders goes, I really am embarrassed to say that I have not done as much homework on these candidates as I should have, but I'm getting there. But so far, what I heard is that he's pretty much the best pick thus far.
Okay.
As far as Hillary goes, I don't know. Do I feel like we're ready for a female president? I'm not really sure about the popular. I'm really not
That
sure
is
about
that is so surprising coming
really
from
not
a
sure
strong
about
woman.
that. It is. It's like an oxymoron. I'm a woman saying that, you know, but
Yeah.
it has nothing to do with like feminism or sexism.
It's about
I
whether
just-
the country's ready for it.
Exactly.
Exactly like I felt about Obama, whether the country is ready for
Right.
a black
I just
president.
feel like now I really just don't think it's the time. Like, I would love it. It would be great to see, but I don't get that energy. And then she doesn't like pump me up. Like things are really going to change. I really want to see the areas I really would love to see affected are education and healthcare. That's the main areas.
Yeah.
Because it's ridiculous, the cost of education
And healthcare,
healthcare, and the fact that so many schools are suffering. You know, I just think it's absurd, and we just need to help our educational system.
Yeah.
But other than that, as far as the other candidates go, I really cannot say much because I really don't know much.
Hey, this is the easy. Hey, I lied to you. It's 25 minutes already. You know,
Okay.
it's like
Oh my